Yeah, it's Tales from the Jails, folks, with John G. Sutton. I want to talk today about the final solution that they've come up with from the Ministry of Justice. Alex Chalk is pronouncing that he's going to start exporting inmates. Exporting them, folks. There's 258 places left in the adult prison estate of the prison service, and all that they can do now is come up with a mad idea to ship prisoners overseas. They call it renting cell space in other countries. I call it an insult to the integrity of the population. Now listen, they've tried this before. It isn't a new idea. I mean, we've only got to go back to the 1600s, 1650s, 1680, when America was a prison colony. Did you know that? We used to ship inmates out and dump them in America. That's what it did. There were prison colonies in America. Also, we did it with Australia, famously with Australia. Sailed them out, was it to Botany Bay or somewhere like that? Dumped them off, and they became virtually enslaved. They're working for nothing, they're prisoners. What are they going to do now? Here we are, 200 years later, 300 years later, and we've got Alex Chalk from the Ministry of Justice talking about shipping our inmates overseas. The problem that you've got is that they're locking that many people up. They don't really know when to stop. There was one case of a prison officer who had been caught smuggling mobile phones into prison. Alright, that happens. You caught him doing it. What is the point of remanding him in custody? I mean, sack him, yeah, automatically dismiss him from the service, and put him out on bail pending trial. But apparently they refused him bail and held him on remand. What is he going to do? He can hardly reoffend if he's in society, can he? This is just crazy. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. 18,000 unconvicted prisoners locked into cells 23 hours a day. We haven't got any staff to work the system. They're talking about bringing prefabricated prison blocks, like prefabricated houses, dropping them inside the secure perimeters of existing prisons and using them. Where they're going to get the staff to actually run it? I've been through this the other day, but I'm telling you, this kind of nonsense cannot go on. It's an affront. I mean, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your cousins, your aunts, your grandmothers, you as well, can be in these places. I mean, they're insanitary, rat-infested dungeons that were built 150, 200 years ago. And they're still being used today, but used today for double or maybe treble the amount of people that they were originally designed to hold. Is this progress? And what are the people being held for? I mean, we've got people in prison for non-payment of fines. It costs about £2,000 a week to keep somebody in prison. In a standard Category B, Category C prison, about £2,000 a week to keep somebody in there. So somebody who gets fined, say £500 or whatever it is for whatever reason, they can't pay the fine, so they put them in prison. So instead of actually getting money into the prisons, into the government, it costs the government £2,000. What kind of madness is this? And once you've been in prison, then your actual affinity to the rule of law is vanished, because you'll never believe in the justice system again once you've actually experienced what happens at the end of the line. That's the prison estate of today, which is a dirty, despicable dungeon. That's waiting for you, by the way. It's waiting for us all, unless of course you have to have loads of money and you can afford to string it out indefinitely. But even if you can do that, occasionally you'll end up in there. And I've seen what happens at the end of the rainbow. Believe me, it's a padded cell and an arse full of largactyl, and it ain't very good. Believe me, I know, I've administered it. I've actually been in it myself. Well, I've been in it, but not locked in it. You know, I was an officer, a hospital officer. So that's my little rant for today. But I mean, somebody should get on to Alex Chalk and tell him, you know, you've got to stop this. What you're doing is detrimental to the health of society, to the whole of society. I mean, we have a prison population of, I believe it's 88,000 now, and virtually no further capacity to take any more inmates. Houses full, yeah. Except they're not accepting that, are they? They continue to incarcerate people for the most ridiculous things, as we've already said: non-payment of TV licence, failing to abide by ridiculous bylaws, you name it, people get locked up. And it's all about controlling society. It isn't about actually maintaining good order and discipline. No, it's not about that. That went out the window years ago, yeah, along with respect for authority. Because today there's very little respect. No respect for the elderly. I mean, I go out there and people try to push me out the way. I mean, it's a bit of a mistake with me because I can push back. Yeah, but generally speaking, people are just not polite, and they're not civilised as they were, certainly in the 50s and 60s. I mean, I was brought up, you get on a bus and a lady gets on, you stand up and give her your seat, or an adult, you know, you stand up and give her your seat. These days, they rush past you and push you out the way. I came back from London once. I had an appointment with my publishers, I believe, HarperCollins, I think it was, and I'd bought a first class ticket there and a first class ticket back with a reserved seat. Except it was on an evening when there was been a football match. So the train was absolutely crammed back to front. No guards on, and somebody sat in my seat. And I had I'd paid for it, a first class reserved seat. I said, excuse me, you know, you're sat in my seat. And you rich bastard, piss off. I said, with all due respect, I am not rich. I'm severely disabled, because I've only got one leg, you see. I'm profoundly disabled, and I can't stand up for the journey. I have to have a seat. Otherwise, I'm going to be seriously ill. So the people around thought, get out of his seat. So anyway, I did get my seat. But believe me, they were very reluctant to do it, and that's despite the fact that I had booked and my name was, well, I had the number on my ticket, and there were no guards to be found. Why? God, it wasn't no aggro, did they? What a life, eh? Anyway, I've got my dinger back by. That's the song dinger. You've been all missing that. I know you have, yeah? So, anyway, I believe later this week there should be an interview with me and a man called James English. That should be out on the YouTube channel, on his YouTube channel. I spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours with him a couple of weeks ago. He's quite well known, apparently. So, anyway, you'll see that on there. And I'm also working on a new backdrop for my my broadcast here. You should see it by this weekend anyway. You know, I'm working at it. Make it look a bit more interesting, a bit more like I'm talking from a prison, you know, which I'm obviously not anymore anyway. Anyway, I'm going to recite you a poem because I can't really sing, can I? Unless you really want me to. Alright, I'll give you a song now. What would you like to sing? Okay. I'll just give you a little brief. Clint Eastwood. I better warn you again, huh? Yeah, I talk to the trees. I actually do talk to the trees, you know. Sounds mad, but I do. Listen, you try it. Go up to a tree that's got like branches on and leaves and all that, and just tell the tree what you think. Honestly, seriously, just say, I did. I put my arms around the tree and I said, listen, you're a fine tree, you know. You've made a real effort with these leaves, and you've got a wonderful outlook. You're doing a great job. Everybody who comes up to this valley looks at you and thinks, what a fine tree you are. Congratulations. And as I did that, and I really did, a branch above me came down and tapped me on the head. The tree was communicating with me. Doesn't that sound mad? Anyway, here we go. I talk to the trees, but they don't listen to me. I talk to them all whenever they're near me. Da-dee-da-da-da. Anyway, I forgot that one, so I'll recite you some poetry, okay? You were lucky there, I forgot the words. Yeah, Larry's happy now. I've stopped the singing. He's put his goat down, because he likes poetry, does Larry, you know. He's from Rotherham, that town in Yorkshire, you know. I actually thought they'd pulled it all down and binned it, but no, apparently it's still there. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. If you have a look on the map, you'll see Rotherham. It's definitely in Yorkshire. So anyway, recently I've been listening to the poetry of T.S. Eliot, Terence Staines Eliot. And my favourite poem of T.S. Eliot is not The Wasteland, April is the cruelest month, nor is it The Hollow Men. We are the hollow men, we are the stuffed men. No, my favourite poem is The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. Seriously, you listen to it on YouTube. T.S. Eliot, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I'll just give you a sample from the start. As you can see, I've got no notes. This is completely off the top of my head. Are you ready? Let us go then, you and I, whilst the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go down certain streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument, leading to an inevitable question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And indeed, there will be time for 1,000 decisions and indecisions. Well, that's the start of The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. This is Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Don't forget to like and subscribe.